This is the world famous cheeseburger, and you're watching the Alliance Guys podcast here on YouTube.
This is Bruno Bob Evans, and you're watching the Alliance Guys podcast on YouTube.
I'm building an alliance.
Will you join us?
It's showtime.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are tonight's entertainment.
You're not here, you missing out, because this show...
Ladies and gentlemen.
All right, listen up.
And now, the moment you've all been waiting for.
It's time for the Alliance Guys podcast.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Alliance Guys podcast, a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com, your number one source for news and information for the National Wrestling Alliance. My name is J Cal. His name is Jaden. And his name is DKM. We are the Alliance Guys, and welcome to the show, everybody.
Hey, it feels like it's been at least 2 weeks since I last talked to you guys.
I think you're right. DK, are you there?
What I know about DK, he never really was there.
I mean,
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay. Helps if you unmute the mic.
I've been there before, brother. So it's good.
The opposite of bad.
Yes. Yes, I'll take that.
Sleep. Sleep is good.
What's that?
I don't know. But I'm being told it's good.
Some people tell you avocado's good. Obviously, they are wrong.
I would argue that. Argue against that.
Yeah, you just like to argue, though.
You know what? You might be right, though. I do like to argue. In fact, I like to argue about a lot of things. Did you guys watch this week's Power? Or last week's Power, I guess, now that we are... times have changed a little bit, and it comes on at a different time and place. But are you guys keeping up with the Power?
It's the last two episodes that were Friday and Saturday last week, right?
Correct. And those are available on CometTV.com.
Yes, I did. In fact, I sent them to you guys, so that's how I think you guys watched them. Or at least one of them.
You sent it to me, James H. Jackson sent it to me, and someone else did. I don't know if it was Big Chris Dog or somebody else, but and I appreciate it because I didn't know until those messages came through. I wasn't checking the Comet website. On Friday night, I was in downtown Los Angeles, actually Burbank, not Los Angeles, and I wanted to watch, but I couldn't get a decent signal in the building that I was at, and it was an unrelated wrestling event that I was participating at, so I couldn't watch when the world was watching, and I kind of missed out that I didn't get to watch it. But what did you think overall? I mean, we're not going to go deep dive into it like we used to. We're going to talk about Power. We're going to talk about the NWA. We're going to talk about a little bit of wrestling in general, and then we're going to call it a night. But what did you think about the last two episodes of Power, Jaden? On just on the surface.
Most of the way, I found it better than at least it's been. I still hate that they interrupt matches with promos. I think that still needs to go.
Yeah.
I don't know how it plays on live TV. Like too much commercials in between. I don't think I saw any commercials on the man part. So again, I didn't see how. I don't remember if there was commercials or not. I actually watched the first one live too, and I still don't remember. But yeah, it was. I like it better. I thought it was better than normal. Matches were all high quality. The arena looked nice. So I kind of enjoyed it. Hopefully it stays, but it stays at least that good and improves. And I think you should guys give it a watch. I think they've learned. Hopefully, knock on some wood. They learned from some mistakes and realizing now that this isn't about what Billy Corgan wants. This is about what the TV viewers want, because they can actually get ratings now. And I'm curious to see hopefully it continues and they can continue to improve. And it's an actual viable product that can be someplace for people who are currently out of work looking for places to go, have an opportunity to go to reinvent themselves. What about you, DK? Probably
What
still
about
muted,
you?
DK.
I'm here. Almost.
Almost.
I actually thought the 2 episodes, and there were commercials on the first one I watched, at least, as I watched it live. I thought the show was better than it's been recently. I thought it was put together a little bit better. I don't remember any stupid skits.
No, I don't either. Just an interview segment, which I didn't actually mind.
Well, they had whatever they were doing with Carson, the little thing. But that
And they
was
spared no budget on that set, by the way.
none. Yeah. Anyway,
Or spent no budget.
spent no budget is what you're trying to say.
Yeah, that's probably more accurate.
They spared no expense, that's for sure.
Yeah. They used their spare change. Anyway, it wasn't my cup of tea, but that's at least, doing things like that have been a part of wrestling for years. So I didn't hate it like I do the skits or whatever. I actually watched them. And, so yeah, I thought it was a little more solid, a little more wrestling based, and a little more serious. Not so. The word I had been using previously was cutesy, not just, oh, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Well, it was certainly better. So I enjoyed the 2 episodes that we've seen so far.
I would say, yeah, there's a vast improvement here. Gone are the backstage segments where we're seeing videos of GameStop ripoff or being at a tattoo parlor or walking the pier in Long Island, whatever it was. I'm glad that they're back to just wrestling. And even the Carson Drake promos, like, I understand that they're not for everyone, but man, that's so much easier to digest than, say, them being a backstage segment in a tattoo parlor where you've got people who don't normally, commiserate together are commiserating. And I'm excited to see that this step in the right direction. And I don't know if this is a byproduct of Sinclair Broadcasting, maybe giving notes to the director, maybe giving notes to the producer, maybe giving notes to the owner. I don't know if that's the case, but I like it. And like I said, even the Carson Drake segment, I know what they're going for, right? It's like a Piper's Pit. That's what they're going for. But, I'm okay with it not being a Piper's Pit. I'm okay with it being a Carson Drake segment with a white table and white chairs and no background of interest. I would much rather see that than the tattoo parlor. Do you guys agree with that?
You real quick, you were talking about commiserating. Those segments made me commiserable. Do you remember when WWF had a parody show on the net when they had the network, and it was John Cena and the Good Brothers and a bunch of different wrestlers pretending to be like a regional wrestling promotion?
Yes.
It was meant to be mocking and a comedy, but there was a sincere charm to it too. And the segments with Carson, it's not great, but it has that same sincere charm. It's very 1980s, 1970s small regional promotion, but it's done with a much nicer looking camera and production in some ways. But it still has that charm that I think wrestling is missing nowadays. Nowadays, wrestling is so. We'll always talk. A lot of people talk bad about WWF, WWE, but their production and the way their new director does things is amazing, and that's great. But if you don't have a director and a budget to do something like that, I like the fact that they're going kind of old school because it fits the aesthetic and it fits the theme of the NWA.
Right.
How about you, DK?
It works. I'm just gonna put it like that. Hey, what they put out works. It looks like a wrestling show.
Now, before we go any further, I want to play a video. Would that be all right with you guys?
Well, no, it'll be $5, but go ahead.
Put it on my tab. Anyways, we did hear the words, the announcement, the retirement of one Trevor Murdoch. Now, we've already talked about that on this live stream, but I think, seeing it in video, I really felt add something to it. So without any further ado, if you guys don't mind, I'm going to go ahead and play this video. Hopefully it should work like this.
Not sure.
Oh, there it went. Hold on.
I've been wrestling for 27 years, and I have seen guys that come in here and they're only here for a payday. They don't give the fans what they deserve. And I always told myself that if I ever got to that point, I wasn't going to be that guy. A little harder than. I don't want to embarrass myself. I don't want to embarrass my family. I don't want to embarrass Harley Race. So at this moment, I'm announcing my retirement from pro wrestling.
Whoa!
I want to thank the fans. I want to thank you guys. Because of you guys, I've been able to put 2 of my kids through college. It's all good, you know what I mean? Like, for a fat guy from a small town, 27 years ain't bad. I want to thank one more dude. He doesn't get enough credit. His name's William Patrick Corrigan. Billy, you believed in me and gave me an opportunity when even wrestling didn't want me. You extended my career for 7 years, man, and that I can't ever give that back to you. All I can say is thank you, man. Thank you so much. Thank you.
A heartbreaking announcement by Trevor Murdoch. A standing ovation here at the OC Theater. What a legacy he will leave behind here in the National Wrestling Alliance.
Wow. That
was emotional.
And a lot more than I thought. I even got a little lump in my throat when I saw it the first time because I was there. I was there for Trevor Murdoch's initial run in the NWA when he was working in Championship Wrestling from Hollywood with David Marquez when that was in NWA territory. I remember him challenging for the 10 pounds of gold at an Ohio State Fair show presented by Bill Behrens. I remember him joining the Lightning One era of the NWA. He was there to be an agent. He was there to help produce matches. And it was the litany of David Marquez, David Lagana, and of course, William Patrick Corrigan trying to get him to come out of retirement, so to speak, to come back to pro wrestling. And in that moment, knowing that he was never supposed to be here. He wasn't, his plan with the NWA was not to come back in a wrestling capacity. It sure as hell wasn't to win the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship 2 times. It sure wasn't to win the Crockett Cup. It sure wasn't to win the tag team titles. And the fact that, again, he stretched out that career from, basically done with wrestling in 2019 to getting 7 more years in the business. I mean, I think that's pretty phenomenal. It speaks to not only his talent, but the ability of the National Wrestling Alliance to create an opportunity for some of the old timers. Gosh, it feels weird calling him an old timer, and it's even weirder to hear him hanging it up. But that was it for Trevor Murdoch. And DK, tell me your thoughts on that. I mean, that was the raw footage we saw. Well, maybe not raw, but that was the footage that we saw on Comet TV for NWA Power, and it was a big moment. How do you feel about that?
It was weird because we had already heard that he had retired. We already knew that. And so it was strange that it, struck me so hard emotionally of, listening to him, that it was just like, yeah, it's time. I wasn't going to do this, but I don't want to be one of those people that hangs on too long, so to speak.
Right.
So it's, it was one of those things that kind of made you go, oh, and then you moved on with it, and it was just, I don't know, it was hard emotionally to watch. Because I liked him, and he was kind of the first one that was like, yeah, we want to see him win the world title. And it kind of felt like they screwed him in his first reign, but his second reign was pretty good. So, and then his year with the World Tag Team title, he fit pretty well. And it's just, it's, I'm sad to see him go. But I'm happy for him.
Jaden, what are your thoughts?
At least he gets to go out on his terms. Not a lot of wrestlers can say that, honestly.
Yeah.
So he's going to be missed. Hopefully he stays back and actually becomes that producer now and helps make the product better. Maybe actually working out with WLW, I mean, a trainer now, and help improving the wrestlers out there. Grabbing some of the kids who are in the NWA right now who could use some more experience and some good teachings. Like the Eddie and Jack tag team.
Thank you.
And others.
By the way, thank you for saying it that way.
And the others that are young and could use some guidance to help them get to that level to, be serious assets to the NWA. So hopefully, again, that's something that happens. Best of luck in your retirement, Mr. Murdoch.
Absolutely. And I had a private conversation with Trevor Murdoch once, and I don't know if I ever told you guys about this, but I want to say it was, it must have been St. Louis. I think it was the anniversary show. I guess it would be the 74th. And at the time, Gary Horn, a good friend of the show, was working for the NWA in their social media department. And he knew how important it was for me to get all the signatures of the world champions on this title. In fact, you guys can't see it here, but there's Trevor Murdoch is right here. I can't really position it in a way that you'd see it. But anyways, Gary Horn allowed me to kind of step aside, and I didn't go backstage or anything, but I was talking to Trevor, and he signed the belt. And this might have actually been Hard Times now that I think about it, in Chalmette, excuse me. I don't remember the exact date, but Trevor at the time was like, I'm happy I'm still here. I thought I would never get a chance to hold that 10 pounds of gold, and I got to hold it, and he was very proud of that. And in a lot of ways, I feel like sometimes people might be embarrassed to represent the NWA, and I never felt that was the case with Trevor Murdoch. I felt like he was very proud of his time as World Heavyweight Champion, and we only just exchanged a few pleasantries. And I told him, like, yeah, I'm buddies with Dave Marquez, and he knew who Dave was, and I told him how I interviewed Lance Cade, and I was hoping that would lead to him coming onto the podcast at some point. Never materialized, but
reach out now. He's got nothing else to do.
Yeah, I'll be reaching out to him for sure. But again, I think it just speaks to his character. Again, he came to the NWA with zero ambition to step into the ring, and when it was all said and done, he was one of the top contenders for the TV title during the tournament. He won the national championship from Aaron Stevens on a primetime live. He defended that national title not just in the NWA but also in the I think it was Southwest Entertainment Fury. I think that's what it was called. That Texas promotion that
SWE.
SWE. So he was able to defend the title there, and of course had a pretty good run as national champion. Was the guy to take the belt off of Nick Aldis, which is a big deal. There's only two guys that beat Nick Aldis for that title, as Cody Rhodes and Trevor Murdoch. And and to think about, of course he ended up losing the title to Matt Cardona, and again would lose it for the second time to Tyrus, but was also able to have a pretty entertaining tag team run with Mike Knox. Again, going back to his time with the NWA about a decade earlier, maybe almost 20 years earlier, he was a part. Him and Cade had teamed with the NWA inside the NWA when they were still doing the showcase at the Hollywood Theater and some of those arena shows that the NWA was promoting at the time. I thought he was going to be a future tag team champion back then with Cade. Of course, Cade ended up re-signing to the to the World Wrestling Entertainment. That was the end of the tag team. But I mean, you got to take your hat off to the guy who really just did nothing but put in the work and represented the NWA well. And DK was right. When he was pursuing that title, we were all cheering for him. We all wanted to see him take the belt off of Nick Aldis. And it was probably one of the last really feel-good moments in the NWA when he won that title. I think it was at the 73rd anniversary show in St. Louis in front of essentially his home crowd. And very, very happy that he was able to walk out on his own terms. And I feel like if he'd given the NWA notice, they would have celebrated it a lot more. They would have maybe put him in a higher profile match. Not to say that there's anything wrong with PB Smooth, but I think, again, that speaks to Trevor Murdoch and his humility and his credibility. He didn't go out there demanding anything. He had his match. He put over Pretty Boy Smooth, and then, thank the fans, thank William Patrick Corgan, and say goodbye. And I don't know that there's a better way to retire from the business than that. So yeah, I mean, I again, good moment for the NWA. It's also a sad moment in that we won't get to see him wrestle anymore, and that's kind of a bummer. But at the same time, like I'm happy that he went out on his terms. Do you guys want to talk about Power?
Maybe quickly, just don't worry about like a lot of the minutia. Just trying to talk about what happened.
Yeah, I'm not going to really get into it because honestly, I didn't. It wasn't until like about yesterday that I thought we were even going to be doing this podcast. So I had very little prep time, and I honestly don't want to sit here and talk about the show in depth. If you guys want to see it, it's available. Comet TV, you can watch it right now, and it is a fun show to watch. But I don't think we're doing anyone any benefit by going heavy into it. I'm looking for my notes here, so give me just a second.
I am disappointed there wasn't a different introduction, a different introduction video.
On the first episode, what did you think of that introduction video, though, with Billy kind of talking about the history of the NWA?
That was fine. I mean, it was set in the placemat.
Yeah,
putting the dishes down so that people can get ready to eat. That was fine, but I was hoping that the intro song and the video itself would have been something different for the new. Every time you get a new broadcast, you need a brand new something to hold people's attention. Because if it's the same old stuff people have been watching all along, it doesn't stand out. And then you want something new to really highlight the company itself. So I think that was a mistake production-wise. The video itself, though, I enjoyed. I thought that was fine. It was a good history lesson. It's a shame they didn't get Dan Connor from Roseanne to do it this time, because that would have been cool for, something for the new television network, something different to grab people's attention. Again, I think that might be a lost opportunity, too. But you know what? William Patrick Corgan, Billy Corgan, whatever you want to call him, he's a known commodity, and since he is owner of the company, I guess it's still a good choice for the intro video. What do you think, TK?
It was good. I appreciated what they were doing and what they did, and footage was obviously from the Paul Wash library. So I think it was. What?
What's your question?
What is the relationship to Billy Corgan and the Paul Bosch Library? I mean, I heard for years that they did not have access to it, and now every once in a while you see clips from it, and I'm just confused as to what's the deal, yo?
My understanding, which should in no way be taken as any form of gospel, my understanding is that when Bruce sold the National Wrestling Alliance, is he sold his whatever interest he had in the library with it. And that originally they didn't want it, but he insisted that it be part of the deal. And so I think basically what it was is they have the rights to whatever was digitized.
Okay.
So whatever Bruce digitized for his subscription service, they have the rights. They have the rights to. So they don't own the original tape, but they have rights to whatever was digitized under Bruce. That's my understanding.
That would make a lot of sense because he did get a couple of episodes of the Paul Bosch Library digitized for that short-lived NWA streaming platform that was such a big endeavor for the NWA to do at the time. It didn't make a lot of sense, but now something like that would make a lot of sense. I just don't see it happening. But that tracks. That makes a lot of sense considering, he had already paid to have that stuff taken care of. So it would bear the reason that footage would still be a part of it.
Yeah, because basically when he sold, he wanted to get back the money. He's spending his own money to do that.
Yeah.
The subscription service never, made a dime. So yeah, he was just trying to get his money back. And supposedly that actually had, again, rumor was that had caused a hiccup, was because Billy had no interest in it, and it was basically like, well, if you want the NWA, you have to pay for this too.
That makes sense.
It's actually smart in a retrospect because, again, you get that little bit of footage makes a big difference. It's something the WWE does not own, and if you're going to show Ric Flair, it's better to show Ric Flair in his heyday with a big, huge crowd to try to create that association.
And I mean, look, they honestly need it. Like, it's cool to have Ric Flair there to present the title to Trevor Murdoch when he won it, right? That was a big moment, but it's another thing to have that footage of Flair holding the 10 pounds of gold. And it, again, when you're trade on legacy and nostalgia, you need to be able to tie everything together. And of course, having that footage, even in those small amounts, ties everything together, puts a bow on it. So that's pretty cool. And I didn't realize that's what they had going on there. So let's talk about this, the Friday night's episode of Power, which we were finally introduced in live in Technicolor. The Titans of Calamity, Ren, Ayabe, and Talos, who were in the ring with Jack and Edward from the NWA Chicago territory. Devastation Reborn, who was apparently a tag team from the NWA Texas, and then Death Row Militia, which I also believe was a tag team from NWA Texas. a lot of beefy guys in the ring. The best way to put it, Jack and Eddie seemed like they were there to take the loss. Unfortunately, a pretty good showing for the All Japan Pro Wrestling Tag Team Champions. The commentators did a great job of putting over the significance of All Japan Pro Wrestling. They did a great job of putting over the fact that the Titans of Calamity won the All Japan Pro Wrestling Tag Team tournament that they do in the fall that they had recently won in 2025. And I felt like they did a great job of putting over who the Titans of Calamity were without really putting anyone else down. They made it feel like everyone actually had a chance, but we knew this was all about the Titans in this one, correct?
Correct.
What did you, DK? What did you think of the Titans of Calamity for seeing them for the first time in a ring?
This match didn't do a lot to highlight them as a team. They didn't come in till the end and then won pretty quick. So it probably did a better job as teams were concerned, highlighting the others. But obviously it put over that they were kind of badasses with the way they were, once they got in, they just ended it.
Yeah. What did you think about seeing them for the first time, Jaden?
Talos looks a lot more like the love child of the Big Show and Big John Studd right now.
I see it. I get what you're saying for sure.
But he looked better than I've ever seen him. I still don't think he's that good. But for what his spots were, I'm talking about the entire day. I'm talking about this. For where he was, what his spots were, he looked better than he ever has. I definitely am more into, I'm going to butcher his name, Ayambe.
I thought it was Ayabe, but
Ayabe?
Last names aren't exactly a good fit.
Hammurabi, something like that.
Hammurabi.
Too soon, man. Anyway,
that's what caused COVID.
Yes, and everything else have happened bad since.
I'm just saying.
But I think I think his partner was more impressive in my opinion. I'd actually like to see more of him. The little bit of All Japan I catch, that's the first time I've seen him, and I don't know why. Is he not regularly featured in All Japan? Somebody have to ask Dodie.
Yeah. Somebody get the hotline to Indonesia, please.
Yeah. But the All Japan that I can get, I don't pay for the service. I keep thinking I'm going to, and I never do. But I haven't yet to see him, so it's my first chance. I think I'm more worried about now somebody picking him up. Because there's a lot more potential, I think, big money potential, in my opinion, in him than in Talos. But it was an impressive destruction for the All Japan Wrestling Tag Team. And I think it was a good introduction, and that maybe made people want to stay because they were definitely physically impressive. Here's the problem, though. When you have a Pretty Boy Smooth and everybody else who's kind of tall, it takes away from the guys that are kind of tall too. But I think it was a good introduction because they at least saved Pretty Boy Smooth for the next week, and it was built up for they basically dominated the entire show today on this one. So it was a good little taste to give you an appetizer for what the main course was later.
I kind of wish they were able to have spread that out a little bit, but of course the way that they did the bracketology, I think messed up a lot of that opportunity because we got 3 matches with the big men on the first episode. So the Titans of Calamity, we got to see a lot of them. Now, the other part to this too is you were talking about Ren Ayabe, and I just kind of, when I saw him, I was thinking, it's probably sacrilege, but he just reminded me of Giant Baba. And I know he moves a lot better than Giant Baba, but he, for being as big as he is as a Japanese wrestler, nearly 7 foot, he just, did you get that feeling at all, or am I just crazy on that one?
He did a couple of things to pay homage to him also. So that may be where they're leading it to. It is people are trying to recreate that Giant Baba magic, that sensation, to try to hopefully rebuild All Japan around him. Because Giant Baba was All Japan Pro Wrestling for years. He was other than Inoki, everybody knows Inoki, but Baba was a bigger star than Inoki. But other than, why can't I think of the father of Japanese wrestling?
Ricky Dozen.
Ricky Dozen, yeah. Other than Ricky Dozen, Baba was probably the biggest star in Japan of all time.
You're not going to give me any flowers on that one? You're not shocked that I knew the answer?
I'm shocked I couldn't think of it.
That's actually a little bit disappointing.
I'm
All right, so
shocked to both of you.
that's not very nice. You're not being very nice right now.
No, what? I'm shocked that you knew, and I'm shocked that Jaden forgot.
The Titans
I
of
blame brain
Calamity.
damage.
The Titans of Calamity, again, winning that play-in match for that 16th seed, then took on the team of Sins and Grins, Bam Bam Malone, and Izzy James. Now, DK, I know you're very familiar with both of these guys. Seeing Sins and Grins up against the Titans of Calamity, this did two things for me, right? It further solidified how badass that the Titans of Calamity were, but it also made me think, man, I want to see more of Bam Bam Malone and Izzy James. Now, I know Izzy James recently debuted for Pro Wrestling Noah. Actually, I believe it was like in January, maybe even December of last year. So it's kind of interesting that he had an opportunity to compete for Pro Wrestling Noah, comes back to the U.S. for the Crockett Cup, and is competing against a tag team from All Japan. It's kind of like, wow, maybe Izzy James has a future in Japanese wrestling. But all four of these guys, I felt like did a good job. And in this match, of course, it was about pushing the Titans of Calamity, but I got to tip my hat to Bam Bam Malone and Izzy James. I really felt like they did a lot in this match to make them look good, but also were given a little bit of offense that I didn't think they were going to get. What did you think of this one, DK?
Yeah, I'll admit I was surprised that they got any offense. Honestly,
yeah,
I wasn't expecting them to get much, if any. And so, yeah, I was glad because they are two champions, even if they're singles champions.
Yeah,
you don't want to squash them, so to speak.
Right.
And so, I mean, the match itself was fine. It wasn't great by any stretch of the imagination, but it showcased what each could do. And I'm kind of like Jaden. I'm still not overly a big fan of Talos, but he works as a part of this team, and he's worked better than he did with his Daisy Kill tag team. Now, I suppose some of it is because you're trying to book him stronger. But I didn't have a problem with the match. I wouldn't give it a 2 in the old days of where 2 was just, it was a good match.
So after that match, then to change things up a little bit, we got women's television title match right in the middle of the show with Giselle Shaw, who we know is a part of Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling, one of the stars of Maple Leaf, and she took on Tiffany Nieves. Now, this wasn't a match that I was even anticipating. It wasn't something that was advertised initially for the signature live event in Forney, Texas, but Giselle Shaw, who had a good showing her first time in a match with Markova that was interrupted by Tiffany Nieves, challenges for the TV title, and lo and behold, wins it. What shocked me the most about this is that we don't see the outsiders come in too often and win titles, right? Like we saw Hammerstone come in. We've seen, we saw Shotzi Blackheart come in and challenge for the women's world title. Did not win it. And so when Giselle Shaw came in, when she challenged the first time for the world title, I didn't think that she had any realistic chance at winning the title. But then coming back for her next event and winning the television title, that kind of shocked me, and especially with the run that Tiffany Nieves has been on. This was her lucky 7, and she lost the last match of her lucky 7, which to me is kind of a good thing. I think if everyone wins the lucky 7, it diminishes the accomplishment. And not that Tiffany Nieves isn't worthy, but I feel like if everyone does it, then it loses its luster. But it was a pretty good match, and seeing Giselle Shaw win the title, I was surprised. Jaden, how did you feel about seeing Giselle win the title?
I do like the fact, again, I agree with you. It's nice to do so. And I think it's too soon still for Nieves and Markova. If happens to take on Markova, Nieves needs to win the championship. I think that's the way it should go. And I think it's too soon. So this delays gratification and delays that match. I think it's a good idea. I didn't think the match was that good, though. It was okay.
Okay.
I definitely think Shaw and Markova was a better match. It just seems, I don't know what it was. It just didn't seem put together well. What about you, DK?
Yeah.
Or Jay, whoever?
No. DK's
I probably liked it better than Jaden did. Again, was it a great match? No, but I thought it was good for what it was. Like Jay said, I was actually kind of surprised because they were really putting over how this was the Lucky 7. And I wasn't really expecting Shaw to win anyway. So, but I thought it was the right decision because I didn't think Markova. I didn't think Tiffany should get the Lucky 7 because, like Jay said, this keeps it special. It's not easy. You may think you're on the verge of it, but you got to do it. They did bring up that she had been like the longest reigning TV champion, but that's probably not a good thing.
Yeah.
Because you're basically saying, hey, look, she's held the title for well over a year, and she's just now on her 7th title defense. So, that sounds awkward. But, yeah, I thought the ending kind of shocked me. I don't know, for some reason I felt like it was a little bit out of nowhere. And then
it did feel pretty abrupt.
Yeah, it was just like also, what? It's over? What? She won? Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, I'm not going to criticize it. It was just like, oh wow. Well, that's good. So, well, my voice cracked on that one, didn't it?
Yes, it did.
It's pretty good.
I blame allergies.
You ever heard of the Muffin Man?
I blame allergies. But yeah, there we go. It was a pleasant surprise in the middle of insanity.
I mean, I thought it was it was exactly that. I wasn't shocked, but I was surprised. And then the main event was the first round of the Crockett Cup. We got the Titans of Calamity taking on the Immortals. Now, this is quite literally All Japan Pro Wrestling versus the National Wrestling Alliance. This was a team from All Japan. They are the All Japan Pro Wrestling Tag Team Champions. They won their version of the Crockett Cup last year, taking on our NWA Tag Team Champions, the Immortals, Kratos and Odinson, who won the Crockett Cup last year. Now, Kratos and Odinson had been talking about going back-to-back on the Cup. I mean, no one has ever won the Cup more than once. We've never had a 2-time Cup winner, and Odinson and Kratos were talking about going back-to-back. So the fact that this match, I feel like it delivered. I feel like, one thing I do know about Odinson, that him and Paro used to team together in All Japan Pro Wrestling. There's another All Japan connection right there. And I had no doubt in my mind that Odinson would be able to keep up in a match like this. On the other side, you have Kratos, who's competed in matches with New Japan Pro Wrestling. So again, I did not think that there would be a lack of physicality in this match. And I'm not saying it was the hardest hitting match I've ever seen, but for the NWA, it was a bit snug. Ren and Talos were giving it as much as they were taking it. And, I felt like I wish this wouldn't have been the first round for this match. I wish they could have met in a second round. We could have hyped up a little bit between the All Japan Tag Team Champions and the NWA Tag Team Champions. But in a surprising turn of events, I don't think anyone thought the Titans of Calamity were coming from Japan just to wrestle 2 matches and then go home. So to see them win the first round, again, not shocked, but a little bit surprised. Because it was a bit of an upset. If you're a fan of the NWA and you're unfamiliar with Ren, Ayabe, and Talos, I feel like that's kind of a shock, or at least a surprise. DK, what did you think about it?
I wasn't necessarily surprised that they won. Although I will say that if I knew nothing else, small spoiler coming here. If I knew nothing else, based on the show, I would have known that they were going to win the tournament. Because basically they had to do the most. They had to win the four-way. They had to win the AB match, and then they had to win the first round match. And so, which they did all in one show. And it's just like, okay, you don't do this unless this is the team that's going to win.
Right.
Because they had to wrestle more times than anybody else in a single night. And so, just based on this, I knew who was going to win.
Eyeball.
And the match itself, hey, four big men beating on each other. Some of my favorite wrestling styles. So, I enjoyed the match. Solid 3.5 to me. And I was surprised that they won so cleanly. That there wasn't really any type of out given. You know what I mean? There was no injury, there was some miscommunication somewhere. He leaped and hit the pole on the pole outside the ring, wasn't trying to jump into the corner or something like that. I would have thought there had been some kind of out given your world champions. But no, they were just beat. That surprised me a little bit. I'm not saying it's wrong, but it surprised me.
I heard.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, please.
I saw for a while it was being talked on Reddit that Kratos is not long for the NWA. So I think maybe that's why, if that is true, and that's not just somebody speculating or whatever. But I know we were talking on Reddit a while. One of the threads came around that they don't think Talos is long, or that rumors are Talos isn't long for the NWA.
Did they speculate where
Kratos. Sorry, Kratos.
Did they speculate where Kratos was going? Where they think
No.
he was going?
But apparently they don't think he's long with the NWA. Maybe he's going to go full-time in Japan. There was speculation, but nothing concrete. Some people think he's going to go full-time in Japan. Some people think that he's being looked at by TNA. So we'll see, I guess. I also really, really, really hate Odinson's forearms to the back. It just does not look like it hurts. The guy's got solid muscle, and somehow he doesn't make it look like it hurts. I don't know. But otherwise, I enjoyed the match. Again, I gave it a good 3 stars. It was a good match for what it was. I like watching. I go back to the UWF Mid-South era, watching Steve Dr. Death Williams, Terry Bam Bam Gordy, Ted DiBiase, who was a small guy compared to everybody else. One Man Gang, Kamala, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and a lot of that beef just beating the crap out of each other. Yeah. And that's what it did bring back a little bit of that feeling to me of Mid-South wrestling, where, like, again, Ted DiBiase, who was big for most other places, was the small guy in that equation, and all those big guys beating each other up. So I think that's something that's going to be fun. That was fun to see, and I can't wait to see what happens to the rest of the cup. Actually has me wanting to care.
That's probably the best thing that you said the entire time, is it wanted you to care. DK, did you care? Like, did this make you care?
It made me think that the cup's going to be good.
Okay.
That the overall thing. I thought all the matches tonight, even if they weren't, great. Let's be honest, they can't all be oh, that's the best thing I've ever seen. But I thought they were all well booked, mostly well wrestled, and so it did have me like, okay, yeah, I want to see more.
Well, and then like the coolest thing is we didn't have to wait very long because then the very next day, there was the next episode of Power, which kicked off with our friend Alex Misery challenging Damian Fenrir for our #1 contender spot for that World Junior Heavyweight Championship. Real quick, I did want to post this up. Patrick Moore says, "I want a double title match, NWA versus All Japan Pro Wrestling." That would be interesting. That would be fun. I'm about that. What do you guys think about that?
I don't think it'll happen in All Japan because of Kratos' New Japan credentials and history. But I would, if it could happen in the NWA, maybe it happened in one of those television tapings. Who knows?
Yeah.
I almost feel like you'd have to do that now. Like,
do?
hey, we just beat your champion, and so we got 2 belts. Let's get ourselves a third.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and I think it sets, like, look, we had during EC3's run as NWA World Heavyweight Champion, he was the first champion since Ricky the Dragon Steamboat to defend the 10 pounds of gold at an All Japan event against an All Japan pro wrestler. And now here it is, a few years later. What's that again?
Do we know who he defended against?
I can find out for you. I can't remember the guy's name, but I will find out for you.
Okay.
If you give me just a second.
Well, Jay's looking that up, though. Oh, go ahead, Jay.
No, you go ahead.
I'm about to say that took way less time than I was expecting.
We still have another episode.
Yeah, but while that's talking about it, we were talking about the Alex Misery, Alexander Miserable, as you like to call him, and Fenrir match. And here's where I think Alex Misery, why he can get over in the NWA better than I think any place else, is because in the NWA, he's different.
Yes.
He is different than the traditional junior heavyweights, and that's what makes him extra special, and everything he does that much cooler, because he's the only one doing it. It's different when he had Jack Roundoff there before, but when Alex Misery does it, it's like he almost feels like he's their version of Darby Allin, but doesn't come off as like a moron.
I hope Alexander Miserable's in the chat and heard your high praise. The eyeball's always watching, so if you didn't hear it live, I'm sure he'll see it later. Yeah, and you're right. I feel like he is a difference maker because of his style is different, and no one in the NWA is emulating that style right now. Now, when Colby gets healthy, we might see Colby come back and wrestle similarly, but I don't think anybody consistently can wrestle the way that Alex Misery does. Look at that.
Colby never really wrestled like that, though. Always watching.
I guess only when he's wrestling Misery did he wrestle like that.
Yeah, I think Misery brought it out of him maybe, but he generally wasn't like that. But I very much enjoyed this match, him and Fenrir. So real quick, who is the challenger, and then we'll talk about this match.
Well, okay. Oh yeah. So the challenger was, and I just had it. Now I moved away from it. It was Ryuki Honda, and that was on May 29th, 2024, and that was at Korakuen Hall in Tokyo.
Almost 2 years ago.
Yeah. So pretty. I mean, again, nice to see that. This. We might be seeing the foundation being built right now of an All Japan All Japan NWA relationship, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But I, for one, would love to see it. I know our friend Dodie, if he's watching right now or watches later, he's gonna shout at the camera, slap his fingers and point at the camera. That's what he's been asking for a long time, and I don't know that we've ever been as close to it as we are right now, because again, your tag team. Your All Japan Tag Team Champions just defeated the NWA World Tag Team Champions, and that certainly at least storyline wise sets up some sort of matchup between the two at some point down the road. All right, so let's talk about Saturday's Power, which was aired at its what will be its normal.
Oh no, Alex Misery took you away, Jay. Oh no, come. Okay, good. I was worried. Alex Misery got you.
You know what happens is when I start clicking too many tabs on the screen, things tend to go out. So I think I need to slow down a little bit. But so going to this week's episode of Power on Saturday, we were introduced to Brandon McCord with Alex Misery. Apparently, Misery has now become part of the collection with Brandon McCord, and apparently Gags is part of this group now too. Recently, we saw Bones as part of the Brandon McCord family, and I don't really know what the whole deal is. Again, I feel like McCord is kind of a modern day Ripley, collecting his oddities. And, I do feel like Misery would fit in with a group with Bones and Gags. And I don't know if Lev is still in the picture. We haven't seen him in a while. But I keep telling you guys that Misery is due for a championship title in 2026. He's the guy that I see. I thought he'd be the next television champion. But apparently, winning this match against Damian Fenrir sets him up for an opportunity against Spencer Slade. Now, that's not an easy task, right? Spencer Slade is a phenomenal wrestler, but I also feel like Damian Fenrir is a phenomenal wrestler, and Misery was able to best Fenrir in a very athletic match. We got the best of Fenrir. We said that a couple weeks ago when Fenrir won the junior heavyweight challenge. He won the match and then subsequently challenged for the junior heavyweight title, but was injured in the course of the match, so he never got a really good effort from Fenrir. That wasn't the case. Misery defeated a fully healthy, fully functional Fenrir. Now, there was a little bit of shenanigans with McCord and Gags, but at the end of the day, I mean, Misery had the wherewithal to absorb a powerbomb onto the steel steps and still get back in that ring and win the match. So congratulations to Alex Misery on the number one contendership, and I hope that his match against Spencer Slade happens soon because I'd love to see it. DK, what did you think of that matchup?
I had mixed feelings about this. One, I kind of want to see both of them win, so it's always hard. It's always harder when you're watching a match where it's kind of like you have arguments for either one of them winning it. Second, it was heel versus heel, which kind of led to the crowd not knowing who to cheer for. And then I feel like they were starting to get behind Misery when McCord interfered, and that kind of tripped them up a little bit. And so, isolating the in-ring activity, I really enjoyed the match, which honestly isn't typically the type of match I like, but I felt it was pretty good. And I'm not going to complain about Misery winning because he's probably the most interesting person in the NWA right now, just stylistically. You kind of always wonder what exactly is going on and what exactly he's going to do. So, from that aspect, it was kind of cool to see him win. I'm not ready to take the title off Slade yet, so I'd have mixed emotions going into a match between the two of them, which again would kind of be another heel versus heel match. And I don't know, in ring I enjoyed. A little confused with some of the stuff going on in it and how they're booking that specific match. So I don't know, Jaden.
I must have PTSD because I even forgot Gags was there.
Oh yeah,
I must have blocked him out, some kind of trauma blocking or something like that, transference or something. But yeah, I think the fans want Misery to be a babyface, and honestly, wasn't even sure Fenrir was totally a heel anyway. It just felt like they were. It felt like Billy Corgan booking, honestly, but it just felt like they just threw them out there without any real direction, and they just kind of played it up because for a while, Misery kind of wrestled as a baby, and I think that's maybe why they went with that direction. But then the stupid thing with the manager, this is hard for me to believe. I don't like pro wrestling managers for the most part. And it's because nobody really knows how to be a real manager and build a real stable and build a real faction and build around build around the manager. These guys aren't Bobby Heenan. These guys aren't even Harvey Whippleman. It's just, I don't know. There's very little need for managers in wrestling nowadays because nobody can cut a promo really. So it's not like they're any different. And the managers don't cut a good promo. Managers just kind of take away from the spotlight and put it on themselves. And I don't know. I think we just need to abolish bad indie managers.
Well, I like Brandon McCord more than I like Austin Idol. And I'll leave it at that.
That's like saying getting kicked in the knee is better than getting kicked in the nuts.
Well, I mean, I'd much rather get kicked in the knee than getting kicked in the nuts. I don't know about you. That's an easy answer for me. All right, next up we have the Crockett Cup quarterfinal match. The Wrestling Machine, speaking of Slade, teaming with Mike Mondo, who had a guest appearance on this week's pre-party, which I didn't even know we were still doing pre-parties. I don't know what's going on here anymore. We're still doing the Alliance guys. We're still doing the pre-party. It's like nothing's changed, and I don't know what to say about that. The Wrestling Machines, who took on the Southern Six, Alex Taylor, Kerry Morton. Ricky Morton was in the corner of the Southern Six. Aaron Stevens was in the corner of the Wrestling Machines. And again, we talk about booking a babyface versus a heel. It's very easy to get behind the ideology of a babyface versus a heel because you give me one guy to cheer for, you give me one guy to boo, and give me a reason why they're fighting. This was not that. This was two heel teams. The Southern Six has only been heel. Sometimes they float towards that tweener role, but for the most part, they've been a heel faction. And the same thing with the Federation of Champions, including the Wrestling Machines. Slade and Mondo are definitely heels and have always wrestled that way. So it's kind of, again, you confuse the audience. They don't know who to cheer for. There were times in the match where Kerry Morton was like a house on fire and the fans were getting behind him. But that isn't typical Kerry Morton. Now, they were in Forney, Texas. Alex Taylor and Kerry won the Crockett Cup in 2024. DK and I were there to see it. Couldn't believe it then. Still, it's hard to believe now. And the fact of the matter is the fans were still cheering for Morton and Taylor, although that they're heels as well. And I feel like the big interesting point of this match was there was a time right towards the end of the match where Taylor gets put into the Slade lock and Kerry goes to help him out and Mondo is able to grab onto Kerry's leg. Kerry kicks him off. And he hesitates for just long enough that Taylor taps out, and he could have made that save. You can watch it on camera. They showed the replay. He could have made the save, and he didn't do it. And of course, that got Alex Taylor hot post match. Thribbly Silas Mason, who was doing the color commentary for this match, was also there, and there was some shoving going on between the Southern Six. Now, I got to ask you, Jaden, you've been watching this product for a long time now.
Unfortunately.
It's been said that, the Southern Six, maybe the time is up for them. Maybe it's time to move on. With Taylor tapping out because of Morton not getting in there to save him, with Morton getting face reactions, are we going to see a split between the Southern Six? Is Kerry Morton going babyface?
I think, honestly, Kerry Morton's a better heel. So I think what should happen is Kerry Morton goes heel and Taylor and Thribbly go babyface if they're going to do that. It's funny, Billy Corgan's known for breaking up tag teams, and he's taking a sweet old bippy time to get this one done. I just hope it doesn't end up where they both having talking sessions on Dr. Vic's show. And if I fucking gave them an idea, I'll be so mad at myself now. God, I wish I didn't say that out loud. Yes, I cursed. But oh God, I hope that doesn't happen. But I don't think they need to break up now. I think it's just, I don't think it needs to happen. But now I think they're going to finally pull the trigger. That said, though, I very much enjoyed the match. I like the Steiner-esque feel of Slade and Mondo. I think this is the best both Alex Taylor and Kerry Morton have looked in a long time, especially as a tag team. I think the match was fun. I almost think of the Southern Six as the Freebirds as they're only baby faces. I mean, they're only heels because they fight the Von Erichs and the Von Erichs friends. But if they fight anybody else, the fans want to like them. That's what I kind of feel. And it would be if they were the only ones, it would make him special and unique. Just like, Alexander Miserable's unique. I think if they were the only ones to be the kind of in-between heels and there weren't all these heel versus heel matches, it could work. But I enjoyed the match. I think they're going to break them up, but the funny part is I finally got to the point where I think they just shouldn't. So either they can find a way to save that and make them stronger than ever and full-on baby faces, or turn Kerry Morton heel because he's got that natural dick slap, want to get his face slapped kind of personality,
Dick
and
slap?
maybe yes, right across.
Slap nuts.
Yes, those two. Just like he's got that face where you just want to punch him. And I remember when he was on here, he had a great heel personality too. I think that's what it is. Kerry Martin should go heel, and Alex Taylor goes and Thribbly go face, and finally pull that trigger. Because Thribbly, as much as he is fun as a heel, and he's cut some good heel promos, he hasn't really shown his true charisma like he did when he was with Koyo. And I think this is a chance to really showcase him. Because, in all honesty, this is going to hurt me to say this, I'm disappointed right now in Thribbly's title reign, and I don't blame Thribbly. Did we get to DK yet?
What?
What was your thoughts on the tag team match between the Southern Six and the Wrestling Machines?
Well, I thought it was interesting that they started off. They're two heel groups, but they started off trying to set up the Southern Six as faces.
Yep.
Kerry did a real fired up, promo. Probably the best he's ever sounded, honestly. I was impressed with it. I thought, wow, that was a really good babyface promo that he just did right there. And Alex Taylor and Thrill kind of did neutral ones. Thrill kind of been wrestling neutral recently. He's part heel, part face. And the match was entertaining. The match was good. As a team, I prefer Mondo and Slade. Mondo and Slade are more my type of wrestlers. But I thought they all looked good. This is probably the best I thought Kerry looked in a long time. And so I enjoyed the match. But again, then I was left a little bit confused at the end. That not being able to get in and hesitating and save your partner or whatever, that's almost a little bit more on the heel side.
Yeah.
And so it was just like, all right, he gave this fired up promo. He wrestled very babyface in the match, especially his, fired up running across the ring, smashing people and everything like that. But the end was kind of left like, well, that was weird. And then Ricky Morton was back for the first time in ages, so I guess he and Kerry are getting along again. But like he didn't do anything. It's like, why was he there?
Yeah, I think maybe they brought him in to kind of like he was the counter to Aaron Stevens, but that's not what we got.
I was going to say it's, and I even wondered that at one point when Aaron Stevens kind of got involved. I was sort of like, well, since Thrill was on the thing, I go, oh well, where's Ricky? I'm expecting Ricky to start chasing Thrill, I'm not thrilled. I'm expecting Ricky to start chasing Aaron Stevens, and it was kind of like, is he out there still? It was, I don't know. I was left confused by the end, and so, and again, this is one of the things I was talking about previously. Pull the trigger. If you're going to break them up, you are past time of pulling the trigger. So either break them up or keep them together. Actually, if you kept them together and turned them all faces, it would probably be the most interesting that the Southern Six has been because they've been booked so badly.
It's so bad that it's so weird that former United States Tag Team Champions, former World Junior Heavyweight Champions, plural, current former NWA National Champion, currently the NWA World Heavyweight Champion, and they're all booked badly, and it's true, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't know. I actually preferred Thrill on the commentary this time because I don't know if it was necessarily the last time he was on. One time he was on commentary, I didn't enjoy it very much, but this time I thought he did a good job. So,
yay! What else happened?
All right, so that was a fun, exciting match. So we got the next round. We got the Country Gentlemen with AJ, KC, and Papa Joe taking on the Colognes. Now this match started off with that promo in the ring. It's funny because Joe Kazana didn't say that he didn't like where they were seated. He flat out said it sucked. And I don't get why they think they should be seated so much higher than anybody else. It's been a while since the Country Gentlemen have held tag team gold in an NWA on the NWA proper. Now they are the NWA New Mexico tag team champions, but that's not super high in my priority list because that's a relatively new territory that has a very limited exposure for the rest of the National Wrestling Alliance. That's not to say that those belts aren't important, but I don't think that they should have been seated higher than the U.S. tag champions. But that was the case, and they took on the Colognes, who are well-respected, nationally recognized tag team, because Puerto Rico is a part of the American in the United States.
Yay!
The Colognes, former WWE Tag Team Champions, have been showing up a lot for TNA Wrestling as well as Ring of Honor. So they have been working around as well as working on the island with the home promotion of the World Wrestling Council. So having this opportunity for the brothers, AJ and KC, they looked really good in this match. The commentary talked about how both teams were third generation wrestlers, which I guess that is true.
Are they?
Well, so AJ and KC, their great grandfather was a.
I know that the Colognes.
Well, so Epico, one of them is the nephew, and one of them is the brother of
Carlito.
Lito.
Is Epico the nephew? I thought he was the cousin.
Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I thought he was a cousin. I only thought they were 2G.
I don't think they are cousins, direct, like first cousins. For some reason, I was thinking that there was kind of a mismatch.
I mean, they're familiar somehow, but I don't know how.
Right.
But I always thought Eddie Colon and Epico Colon or Primo Colon were cousins. I forgot which one's which.
What I'm reading right here, Epico's connection to Carlos Colon Sr. is part of a larger Colon wrestling family dynasty. Carlos Colon Sr. is the father of Carlito and Primo, and the uncle of Epico.
Okay, so they are cousins.
Make them cousins. Yeah.
Okay.
So they're 2G. Technically, I guess if you want to count, unless Epico's father wrestled, he's a 1G.
Was
bloodline or something.
Excuse me. Was Carlos Sr., did his dad wrestle?
No.
I don't know.
There wasn't really a Puerto Rican wrestling history as much until Gorilla Monsoon and Victor Quinones, who's people always joked around as Gorilla's illegitimate son, and Carlos Colon and stuff like that, created the World Wrestling Council. There wasn't really there was tours around, but the first real homegrown promotion was the WWC. Like the big time, like their version, and that was a subsidiary at one time of Capital Sports, or a offshoot, because that's when Gorilla owned part of that too.
Getting back to the Southern Six real quick, our pal Matthew Underwood said, the finish on the Southern Six didn't make sense. I've been calling for the Six to be faces for a while now. The natural evolution of a heel group, they can sell some T-shirts. There you go.
Real quick though, that was a good. Did we talk about the finish? Did we talk about the end?
That match?
No, we just started talking about the beginning. All right, let's talk about the match real quick.
Yeah. So Southern Six versus Country Gentlemen. Again, I feel like this was a great showing for the Country Gentlemen, a tag team that I've been kind of critical of as of late. I love AJ Kazana, and I almost think he'd be better suited as a singles competitor. But this matchup against the Colones really put some stink on the Country Gentlemen, made them look strong, and being able to take down the tag team of the Colones, the stature, I felt like was a great move. They won with that finishing move, the Gentleman's Touch, which is that Russian leg sweep back elbow from AJ combination. Something very unique to the boys, to the Country Gentlemen. I thought it was a great victory for them. And Jaden, what did you think about the match?
I thought it was a good victory, a great match for the guys. I thought it was probably the best I've seen them as a team for a while. That new tattoo must really superpowered AJ or something. Or his run coming to New Jersey as part of the Dangerous John Wrestling Gladiators lit a fire under him. Somebody say wildfire? But I think this was a good match. I think it was a good win for the Southern Six. I mean, the Colognes went to the finals last year. Former two-time tag team champions, wrestle in Puerto Rico, to have held championship gold there. And this is a big win. It's almost similar to my thing as not quite an upset, but everybody would have thought the Colones would have had the advantage. And it was similar to Talos and Ayabe to defeating Kratos and Odinson. It definitely set the Crockett Cup wide open. I'm sure there's been a lot of bracket busting going on right now, and it set the brackets wide open, and now just about anything can happen in the Crockett Cup.
Real quick, our pal Sean Mega says that Epico was trained by Dan Severn, so does it change the generation he's in, but puts a little additional legacy on his name. DK, what did you think of the match?
I thought it was good. My one quick side trip, I thought it was interesting that both finalists from last year got knocked out, on a Friday and Saturday night show. So it was, they got knocked out back to back. But overall, I thought this was the best the Country Gentlemen have looked in a long time. Now, that being said, the Country Gentlemen have been bogged down wrestling women's tag teams and fake tag teams in that fake promotional feud. And so they haven't had a chance to look good. But again, you put a good team in with another good team and you let them wrestle, and you get a good match. And I got to take a phone call, apparently.
That's Billy calling right now. Let me put DK on mute for a second.
City Morgue, you stab him, we slab him.
I didn't mean to take him off the screen. I just meant to mute him. All right. So again, that was a pretty good match. And I think we could all agree that it was a big victory for the Country Gentlemen. And that's a good thing that you pointed out, or a good note that you pointed out, Jaden, is that both, or DK
did.
DK pointed out that both of the finalists from last year's Cup were eliminated on this week's episode of Powered Out. One was a quarterfinal match and one was a first round match. But all the same, we saw both finalists eliminated. So we're going to definitely have a brand new Crockett Cup champion this year, and the finals will not be the same as they were last year or anything close to it, which I think is good for the tournament, because I feel like, again, you don't want to be bogged down with the same teams in the tournament each and every year. So I'm going to go ahead and jump to the next match.
Real quick, there's almost that reset on the tag teams too now. Who knows? This might be a catalyst to the Country Gentlemen being shot to the moon.
Yeah, and they even mentioned that on commentary, like, this victory, anyone who wins this match could be propelled into a title shot down the road because it was such a big matchup. Now, I would say that about almost everybody at this point in the Crockett Cup. I mean, the Wrestling Machines, certainly, they were in the quarterfinals last year, losing to Murdoch and Knox, the tag team champions, who ended up losing to the Immortals. So, they did better this year, and now they're going to be in the semifinals. So I think that's a pretty interesting move, and perhaps maybe we'll see the Wrestling Machines kind of get pushed into that tag team title shot, currently held by the Immortals. And of course, they're kind of reeling right now because a first round elimination doesn't bode well for their future success. But let's talk about the main event. Again, we already played the Trevor Murdoch retirement speech earlier on the show. If you want to check it out, just watch the show from the beginning. But Trevor Murdoch, who had been in this kind of weird rivalry with Pretty Boy Smooth dating back to the 77th anniversary show, there's been kind of this beef, this problem, it's kind of weird because there wasn't an actual match that set this up. It was, remember, Trevor Murdoch and Mike Knox encountered EC3 during a PB Smooth match, and ever since they've been, battling back and forth, but never once in a match. They finally put them in the ring together, and Pretty Boy Smooth was able to easily kick out of that bulldog off the top rope that has made Trevor Murdoch a world champion not once but twice. And that was very telling when Trevor Murdoch lost to that maneuver. Obviously, the NWA is looking at Pretty Boy Smooth in a lot different capacity, because Trevor Murdoch, a victory over Trevor Murdoch, I don't care where he's at in his career, it sets you up for bigger things. And obviously, the NWA is looking at Pretty Boy Smooth with a different set of glasses since last year's Crockett Cup. So I thought that was a big victory for him. And I'm curious as to what you thought, Jaden, seeing Pretty Boy Smooth go over Trevor Murdoch.
Of course, that bulldog wasn't going to finish him. He's got extra padding in that skull.
That's true.
A lot before he hits anything but bone. So I think that's probably what happened. But seriously, though, I think it's the best. I think Pretty Boy Smooth has looked as a singles wrestler, in my opinion.
I agree.
That was a good match. I enjoyed it. It was two big guys beating each other up. Again, it's hard to make Talos and Ayambe and everybody special because they already got Pretty Boy Smooth, who's a giant too. If you have a bunch of giants, everybody's a giant, then nobody's a giant.
Right.
But the fact that Trevor Murdoch, who is no small guy, looked small against him, though, I think that helped out and made that look more impressive. Good win, good victory, good. Hopefully now he could be built as a future challenger. They got some people that have built right. They could build some both TV challengers and pay-per-view, whatever they have, signature live event challengers for Thrillbilly. And I think maybe with a bunch more victories under his belt, maybe Pretty Boy Smooth can be one of those two categories.
Yeah, I think so. And we do have a TV title that is vacant, and they're going to need to find somebody for that. So, yeah, there's all kinds of things that could happen, in the realm of the NWA with what you can do with Pretty Boy Smooth. All right. So, getting back to DK, are you still on a phone call? Yes, he's still on a phone call. Okay. So we'll move to, that was the main event. But the big news coming out of from the NWA is that Oh, I think I lost it now.
I know you lost it.
Shoot. Anyways, the number was 270,000 people had tuned into this week's episode of Power on Comet. At least that's what the NWA is reporting from Nielsen. And now I know that, I don't know how much Nielsen means to anybody these days, but, you have to give respect to the NWA for being able to capture so many eyeballs on the product. If this number,
Not Alex Misery's.
yeah, not just his, and I think that's such a huge number that 270,000 people tuned into this week's episode of Power. Again, I feel like this is going to be a very good moment for the NWA. Like, we would talk about the numbers that the NWA used to do on YouTube, and again, what is clearly defined as a view on YouTube or a clearly defined view when they were on not TikTok, on X, whatever platform it was. It's kind of hard to define what an actual view is. How much time do you actually have to watch for it to be counted as a view? But Nielsen is the standard when it comes to tracking viewership for television programming, and 270,000 people, even if it was all across the nation, is still a pretty big number for the NWA. Our friend Chris Shoemaker said 270 is a good start for as long as it's been since YouTube. Absolutely. They went from Roku, which, again, I'm not trying to disparage Roku. I feel like was a great platform for them, but it's not as widely seen, I think, as, being able to just turn the TV on and watch the NWA from your remote. And I know that's not for everybody, but I think that's a really impressive start to this era of the NWA on Comet. And Jaden, I know you know a lot more about television and television production than I do, but can you quantify what 270,000 eyeballs mean for the NWA?
It doesn't necessarily mean 270,000 people, because they take a sample size and they take various people and they extrapolate based on that sample size, based on the actual overall people watching television at the time, and are able to watch television throughout the country and their overall market share and everything like that. Is 270,000 for both days combined? Is it only for Saturday? That I'd like to know.
It said Saturday, but let me see if I can find it. I'll look while you're talking.
That is about the realm of what some of the Saturday night things of AEW do for their AEW Collision or whatever. So that's not out of the realm, and they have a lot bigger name stars. They have to sustain it. Was it accidental? People are like, "Oh, what's this?" and flipping the save for a while. They break down TV ratings in quarter hour. So I don't know if they pay to get if they have the quarter hour breakdowns for each quarter, if it started off at 300,000 and went down, or if it stayed consistent all the way around. If they could stay consistently, like they started maybe like 250,000 and ended at 270,000, or maybe even the reverse order, that's still pretty good. If they started at 500,000 and ended up at like 11,000, that's not. So the quarter hour breakdown is I'm interested if they even have the ability to see it, because I know sometimes with those smaller stations it's harder to get the quarter hour breakdowns and everything, because there's a lot of different stations out there that are broadcasting that. But again, I'm curious, because it's a good number to start with. That's more than honestly that I was giving them. I was thinking they were going to do about 108,000. That's way more than double what I was expecting.
According to the post that I'm looking at, and again, this isn't a source, this is a poster on Instagram, Where in LA 19. The ratings are in, according to Nielsen, over 270,000 people watched NWA Power last Saturday on Comet. So he didn't say combined for Friday, Saturday. He just said for Saturday. So 275,000 people watched on Comet on May 2nd. Again, I think that's a huge victory. DK, you're back. You hear that number. What does that mean to you?
Wow, that's impressive. I mean, just you can't deny it. I think that may have been what I was hearing Jaden say when I first walked back in. That's not too far below Collision, and AEW is supposed to be the second biggest wrestling show around. So if you're able to draw in the afternoon just underneath what Collision's drawing at night, I mean, you gotta say it's impressive. And I gotta say that if those are the numbers they're drawing, that they put on shows that were good enough to make you say, "Hey, I want to come back and see more."
I mean, I think overall, when I think of the collection of the two episodes, it was a much superior product than what we were watching on Roku. If the worst part of the show was Carson Drake interviewing the slime balls, I mean that's pretty good considering what we were getting on Roku. This is pretty good, and I was very, we're gonna always give our grades. I'm gonna give this one an A, man. I think they knocked it out of the park for the premiere episode. You got a title change, you got a huge upset in the Crockett Cup, you got two really good tag team matches. You had Trevor Murdoch retire. I mean, this was all pretty big stuff for me, and I thought this was a great introduction for Comet, and anyone who tuned in got to see, in my opinion, the best NWA that I've seen in a while. DK, what were your overall grade for the shows?
I'd probably give them both solid Bs, maybe even close to a B plus. I mean, was there room for improvement? Sure, but I mean, if you're gonna grade on the curve for the NWA compared to some of the crap they've put out, then yeah, this is almost like an A plus plus. But I mean, just as a wrestling show, yeah, I mean, I could sit there and watch this and be entertained and say, hey, that's good when when I was done. Oh, can't wait till next week.
And then next week we have the Burke Invitational. I don't remember the rest of the card, but they're going to have a Burke Invitational where whoever wins that will get a shot at Markova at any time, any place. So that's another, the plot thickens and another thing to advance storylines for the show. But Jaden, your thoughts on the two shows? Give me your letter grades.
I got B minus for the first one, and I got a B for the second one. What I think could have been better is, especially for a proper debut, I think there could have been more star power. The Colognes are a little bit known, and so is Murdoch. But I think if they could have planned it out, they could have had somebody. They first of all should have had a promo with Throwbilly, I think, to start everything. I think that right there should have been something. He's the champion. If you're going to talk to somebody to give a crap, Throwbilly should be doing a promo, or maybe not start, but somewhere in there. And but otherwise, I thought it was a very solid show. If we're grading it on a curve, these episodes are an SSR, ultra rare, a limited edition, one of one. But best in slot, everything full geared out. But otherwise, I just enjoyed it. A mythical maybe, but I enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to it. Unfortunately, the rumors that Jasmine St. Clair is now involved with the NWA has put a big sour taste in my mouth, so I might watch it up until she gets involved.
Sure.
But as long as it stays where I can watch it on demand, I'll probably watch it again.
So that, again, that was this week's Power, and we're going to move on now. There's been a lot of things on the internet with regard to the NWA. I don't think there's anything more interesting to me than this right here, and I hope it works the right way, and if not, I apologize. But
Effie just finished another wrestling show here in Boston, and now I'm doing the impossible because next week I have a championship match for the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship against you, Thrillbilly, against Silas Mason. And Effie knows something about this that you don't. That it shouldn't be happening, that it's crazy that Effie's in the NWA because I've talked and talked and talked, and the Thrillbilly might have the NWA championship, but the other Billy can't be thrilled that I've worked out a way to get it. Because Effie's tired of just talking. Effie's tired of just telling you what he would do. No, Effie's decided to come to the NWA, to take the gold from you, Thrillbilly, to take Silas Mason's championship, and to make NWA the biggest company in the world. Because if I know what I'm talking about, then I must be able to do it. So NWA, my debut next week, right in Illinois, outside of Chicago. Thrillbilly, I'm taking the belt, and Billy will be thrilled when he sees the NWA that Effie gives him.
I am not the world's biggest Effie fan. Let me make that perfectly clear. I'm not a huge fan of Effie at all, but I would have to acknowledge that he has been a draw for GCW. He has been a name that's been gallivanted about quite frequently. And, you know, what Effie was acknowledging there was a few years back, Billy tried to recruit Effie to come work for the NWA amid the Tyrus reign as champion, and Effie had some very controversial things to say about the National Wrestling Alliance and about William Patrick Corgan. So the fact that he's coming to the NWA for the Illinois NWA Chicago event that's coming up very, very soon was kind of mind-boggling. And the fact that he's going to wrestle Silas Mason for that title, again, that is happening at the Reign of the Thrill, which is happening, I believe it's this Saturday. Yeah, it is this Saturday, May 9th. To see Effie challenge for the 10 pounds of gold, and there's speculation that he will also be at the TV tapings happening later in the month. On June 6th, and the subsequent live event on June 7th. There's something happening with the NWA, and it's a talent like Effie, whether you agree or disagree, whether you like him or don't like him, you have to at least acknowledge that he has been a good hand for GCW. Are we entering the era of Effie in the NWA? Jaden, you tell me your thoughts first.
I've just never been impressed. He always reminded me of like somebody took Sami Zayn and put him in a dollar store.
Okay.
Not even Timo or anything like that. Just, you know, like they have the toys that are like the badly painted ones that are supposed to be Shrek, and they put Jesus versus Godzilla in the little packs with some tanks on a flag. That's what it kind of reminds me of. I don't know. I never got him. Maybe I need to see more of him. I wasn't impressed what I did see, so I wasn't really look out for more. If there's more out there that maybe would change my mind, please let me know. Just never impressed me. And what he said, because of Tyrus, I understood. Mm-hmm. And I guess now that Tyrus is gone, they cleared the air between each other and had to talk and realized that it was a different time, and Tyrus is gone, and now they got a shot, doing something. If it can get eyeballs that are positive, if he's doing deathmatch garbage and stuff that's basically he's Matt Cardona 2.0 in the NWA, I really don't care. I want to say it. But again, if there's more with Effie that I'm missing, because sometimes the stuff that you see isn't the best stuff. So I'll give him a shot, but right now I'm not really. I don't really care. PK.
Yeah, here's the thing when it comes to Effie. I really know nothing about him outside of some of the controversial remarks he made earlier about the NWA. I've never seen him wrestle. That may have been the first time I even heard a promo from him. I don't know a lot other than he can be controversial, and he does some garbage match wrestling. And, yes, I know he's a outspoken person for, his community. He's a gay wrestler, and I don't have any issues with that. But it's just, I don't know enough about him. I haven't seen him wrestle. That I can't be excited. And it's just like, okay, I guess let me see what happens.
Yeah. He might completely make us fans after this. Who knows? But
Yeah.
we'll see.
Well, and I, for anyone that wants to go there, like, I don't think any three of us have a problem with the LGBTQ plus community. Good friend of the show, Paul Pratt, has been on our show and has helped promote this show. We've featured Pueblo Del Mar on here multiple times. It's not about him being gay or not being gay. It's, can he entertain us? And you guys saw him initially during the Primetime Live series. He teamed up with Zicky Dice to take on the Pope and Eric Watts way back, and that's the first and only time he's wrestled for the NWA under this current ownership group. But I have seen Effie wrestle some good matches. I have seen Effie versus Hammerstone right here in Los Angeles for GCW, and a promotion where you don't typically get solid mat wrestling, and it wasn't solid mat wrestling, but Effie looked good in his match with Hammerstone. But I've also seen him in matches with Mance Warner, and I'm not a big fan of the death matches, so that is all lost on me. So if we get an Effie who's here to work and pushes Billy Silas Mason to the limits and is willing to work a wrestling match, then I think we're all going to be very excited about that. If we get, like Jaden said, the death match guy, the guy who's going to just bleed all over the place, like, I'm not into that. I don't want that, and I don't think that's going to make for a good product. Doty's here. Doty, you have to go back and watch the beginning of the show where we were talking about All Japan and New Japan. Excuse me, All Japan and the NWA. But yeah, we're excited about that score, the rating, Nielsen rating for the NWA, and it really, I think, was well deserved. I feel like they did put up a better episode. Jaden mentioned that they could have had some bigger stars on it, but I still feel like it was a good enough show, and it got people to watch, and I think that's very important.
Can I say something else?
Yes,
May I say something else?
Absolutely, you can.
I understand the NWA right now trying to create some buzz and grabbing people that have, some cachet out there to different kinds of wrestling fans. I think that's probably why they put the women's TV title on Giselle Shaw.
Yes,
and I think it's why they probably are maybe working with Effie if he does show up at the TV taping. But also there's people out there that have a buzz and are making a name for themselves that they also should probably be reaching out to, like, I don't know, Richard Holiday and Big Trouble Ben Bishop. If they're going to do it, they should really maybe start bringing a couple of them to try to grab something out of that. I also find it interesting because we are fans of a lot of people with the LGBT. Yeah, I could say that. LGBTQ. Easy for me to say, exactly. But Sinclair is not traditionally. So I'm very curious that if anybody in Sinclair is actually paying attention, and if that may create some negative controversy for the NWA or Sinclair Broadcasting, because they're traditionally very not in that kind of they're not the broadcast network is very on the other side of the fence when it comes to support. And it's interesting that if that does happen, I'm actually kind of proud if Billy does do it, because yes, this is their big break and everything like that, but what a way to stand up for something, when you get your big break and then not shy away from it too. So maybe that's something we'll see how that's going to go in the future.
Yeah. Is there anything else you wanted to say about it, DK, or are we ready to move on?
We can move on.
Okay. So there's a lot of live shows coming up for the NWA. Of course, Hard Times is going to be on June 6th. That's the next signature live event. That's the next set of tapings for Power. That's taking place at Center Stage. Tickets are available at nationalwrestlingalliance.com/NWA live events. And already scheduled to appear are the Southern Six, Through Silas Mason and Kerry Morton and Alex Taylor, the Crush, Natalia Markova, the tag champions, the Immortals, the women's tag champions, the Hex, the Federation of Champions with the national champion Mike Mondo, who was on the podcast earlier this week, the World Junior Heavyweight Champion Slade, the U.S. Tag Champions Slime Balls, plus TV's Most Attractive, La Princesa Tiffany Nieves, the Monster Greta, Miss Star, Brian Idol, Kenzie Page, Kylie Page, Eric Smalls, Wrecking Ball Legursky, the Pope Mims. I mean, it's a stacked card. Definitely want to get your tickets for that. They'll be on tour the very next day in Grovetown, Georgia, with many of the same stars that you're going to see at the TV taping, the signature live event. And then we, should acknowledge that this Friday night, the reset for NWA Crossfire, they will be having an event. The NWA World's Heavyweight Champion will be on the card, but I don't know if he's defending the title. The Women's Crossfire Championship, Clara Carter will take on Lizzie Gibson. We'll see Kenzie Page defend the Crossfire Championship against Trey Lamar and Tyler Franks. Again, that's tomorrow night in Seaverville, Tennessee. The Rain Up Thrill happens this Saturday in Highland Park, Illinois, and that's where Effie will take on Silas Mason. We'll also see the NWA Chicago champion Mario Parduo, the Federation of Champions, the Daisy Kill, Lockjaw Drake, and many other talents, including Russ Hamilton, a very big dude. That's a lot of people were hoping he would take on Silas Mason. Marche Rocket challenges for that NWA Chicago title. Good to see Marche Rocket back on an NWA card. May 16th, Collision Course. That's World League Wrestling. On that card, Aaron Stevens and Carson Drake are set to team up. They'll also have Superstar Steve, Keeny Raheem, and a lot of other talented individuals will be there in St. Louis, including Hera. And then on May 22nd, the Tailgate Takeover at the Joe's. This is at Cotton Eye Joe's. You'll see the NWA stars, the Kazana brothers, Aaron Stevens, Kylie Page, Country Gentleman, Carson Drake, and of course, NWA World's Heavyweight Champion, Thrillbilly Silas Mason. There's still more. The Dog Pound Wrestling has their next event on May the 24th, featuring Izzy James, featuring Soda Pop, featuring Sweet Caramel Lightning.
I like that.
Sweet Caramel Lightning. FTW has an event on May the 23rd. Of course, if anyone's going anywhere on May the 23rd, they should be going to Burleson, Texas for the iconic Heroes of Wrestling Excellence. But if you're in Florida, if you're stuck in Florida, can't make it, then you should check out FTW. Again, that'll feature talents from the NWA, including Mike Mondo, Greta, Markova, Alex Misery, Brian Idol, and of course, I think I got everybody. All right, cool. And then on June 6th, the same day as the NWA Signature Live event, we'll have the NWA Texas TV taping, the Tough TV at the OC Theater in Texas. And then lastly, on June 12th, the Battle on Bridge Street, NWA New Mexico, Duke City Championship Wrestling. Come see the stars of Duke City, apply their trade and apply their craft. And a lot of wrestling happening out there. I'm out of breath now. So a lot of wrestling for the NWA. Make sure you check out the NWA live events for tickets, and make sure if you're a fan of the National Wrestling Alliance, support the National Wrestling Alliance, including their live events. Now,
real quick, if anybody here has any connection to any one of those promotions, please reach out to them and have them send Jay their results. He'll post it on alliance-wrestling.com, your number one source of news for the National Wrestling Alliance. And he'll also make sure that it gets out there because, the one thing people don't realize is when you promote an event, after the event is extremely important to get everything out there, the news and the footage and stuff because it really helps build up for future events.
And with that being said, there are 2 events coming up that are near and dear to my heart. Of course, on May the 23rd, Iconic Heroes of Wrestling Excellence at the Burleson Convention Center. I have the graphic. I want to just pull the graphic up. At the Burleson Recreation Center on May the 23rd, the return, which is going to feature a world title match between King Sims and Diamond in the Rough Devontae James. We'll also have a women's title match. These titles have been vacant, and new champions will be crowned between either Victoria Mosh or Hilda La Muñeca. There will be an open weight bout between the Wicked Tiger, Brandon Skies, and the Vanilla Gorilla, Justin James. There is a junior heavyweight match, not a tag team match, just a junior heavyweight match between Prince Alexander and John Doe. And of course, my guest from this past Tuesday, the Whiskey Throttle, will be taking on the Wave to be, in a match that will decide new tag team champions. And, DKM, I know that you've been working very hard to put this card together, and this event is coming up very quick in the next 2 weeks. You have anything you'd like to tell us about the event or anything we should know about?
Buy tickets and buy tickets now! Seriously, if you haven't already, go check out Jay's interview with Whiskey Throttle. It's first time dealing with a tag team in 2 different locations. And it'll help set up maybe another interview because I believe, aren't you going to be interviewing the Wave, their opponents?
Yeah, I believe we haven't pinned down a time yet, but I believe this Tuesday we'll be talking to the Wave. And if it's not this Tuesday, it'll be very soon for sure.
For some reason, I'm thinking it is this Tuesday.
Okay.
So,
it's Tuesday in Texas. Oh.
Yeah, so go watch the other one, and then watch this one.
DK, make sure you get that. By the way, make sure you get the screenshots of that and post that everywhere. Use it as content. Put it on everything that's IHWA related. If Jay can get it to you, if not, do it yourself.
I shall. And yeah, I mean, it's really big, and it just goes to show you how sometimes events take over themselves. I was digging through a box looking for a book, and I stumbled across the old IHWE tag team belts. And so just for fun, I posted a picture of them. And that happened to be my most successful post that week. And then, of course, it led to teams contacting me saying, we want to wrestle for those. We want to wrestle for those. As well as the 2 teams that were already on the event being interested in it. So I put a poll up. I go, hey, I already got 2 title matches. It's just going to be a 5 or 6 card match. I go, should we do a tag, should we put the tag team titles on the line? And a simple yes or no type vote. And yes won by like 85% of the vote. So that's how we ended up with a match for the vacant tag team titles between Whiskey Throttle and the Wave. So we are excited to be doing that. We're excited to keep the fans happy. And yeah, that's it. If you haven't checked out our YouTube page, go check that out. We got some promos going there. And you'll have a chance to see one of the challengers for the heavyweight championship, Devontae James. And let me tell you, the 2 guys going for my heavyweight title, they are heavyweights. About 250 pounds and about 330 pounds of man.
USDA grade A beef.
Yeah, exactly.
Texas beef from the Texas Steers.
So, watch how you finish that.
Yeah.
Longhorns.
Longhorns. There you go. That's the best way to say it.
Yeah. So, yeah, I got a pretty good mix. Got your tag teams going. One of the tag teams is also full of a couple big guys. Whiskey Throttle has kind of one of the smaller guys on the card that's going to be in that one. And a shout out to Dash, who's been doing a wonderful job of promoting the show. and it's exciting. I'm excited. I can't wait to see how and what all falls apart on the day of the show that we have to overcome. We're going to do it, and we're going to put on a show. And so, we might find a way to drag Jay out there. We're thinking about shipping him as cargo because it would probably be cheaper.
I've been looking at flights, trying to figure it out. I'm trying.
I believe you. And so,
big old refrigerator box with some holes in it.
Yeah, I was going to say we can ship you as cargo if necessary. So, or put you on a cattle train, maybe.
I'd fit in there.
And
Get him a stick with a handkerchief and make him a hobo.
You know, there's a hobo that hangs around here, or he used to be at least. Anyhow, we're excited. We're ready. I can't believe it's just over 2 weeks away.
Yay!
Buy tickets now. You don't even have to show up. Just buy the tickets.
Buy the tickets. Yeah, guys, if you can support DK, even if you can't come, order the tickets, and I'm sure he'll send them to you and autograph them and get some wrestlers to do it. Maybe he'll send you a poster.
You never know.
Also, I want to throw out to he has shirts available. Iconic Heroes Wrestling Excellence. You should put that link somewhere where we can share it. And then Matthew Underwood has posted it twice, so I have to acknowledge it. And we're not reporting it as news because I feel kind of bad about talking about it. But apparently the cat's out of the bag. There is a date for the NWA anniversary show. It is been announced, not really announced by the NWA, but if you go to the 2300 Arena, they do list events that are happening this summer. Of course, MLW is running back-to-back dates on Friday, June 12th and the 13th. There's something called the South Philly Showdown happening on Saturday, the June 20th. But on Saturday, July 25th, NWA 78. Tickets go on sale this Friday, May 8th, which is crazy because they haven't even announced it yet on the NWA side. But tickets are going on sale. It should be the NWA is returning to the 2300 Arena for the 78th anniversary show. So real exciting news there. Doty's asking if we love Brian Idol, and I'm going to say I love Brian Idol as he is promoting live events and getting the NWA name out there. But as a pro wrestler, no. Jaden, I know there's a big event coming to New Jersey with the Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators and some barbecue. Unfortunately, I don't have the graphic available, but could you tell us a little bit about this event that's coming up very soon?
You mean on Sunday afternoon, June 14th, at Big Bill's Barbecue in Vineland, New Jersey, Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators proudly presents Bill's Big Barbecue Bash. That's Flag Day, by the way, everybody. So you're going to see, I'm going to announce this now, since it is Flag Day, the Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators Championship will be on the line as the current champion, Vinny the Fixer. Vinny the Fixer does have a match coming up soon for a Mid-Atlantic Wrestling Alliance, so we're assuming he's still champion, but if he's not, there'll be another way around this, I'm sure. But right now, Vinny the Fixer defending the Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators heavyweight champion against Uncle Slam. Uncle Slam, a big, beefy, muscular wrestler with an American flag mask and some red, white, and blue tights, will be going for the Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators Heavyweight Championship on Sunday afternoon, June 14th. Also, the Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators Tag Team Championship will be on the line as Primal Fear will defend. And you'll see a World Wrestling Grand Prix Women's Championship match. Gabby Ortiz will be defending the WWGP Women's Champion against an opponent soon to be named. All that plus much more. You're going to have Dylan Mesh. You're going to have Connor Schaefer. You're going to have Vineland's own Marvelous. Marvelous will be there. So will Nick Batti. Top to bottom, a great wrestling card. More matches will be announced in the upcoming weeks. But I'm really looking forward to Vinny the Fixer versus Uncle Slam, America's own, the hero of this country, a true patriot, if you will. He bleeds red, white, and blue. They run through his veins. He's an all-American. He's a real American. Uncle Slam.
I love it.
Brother. And he'll be to get a shot at the Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators Heavyweight Championship. Tickets are only $20. You can buy the entire seat, but you're only going to need the
Love it. Guys, thank you so much for joining us for this return episode of the Alliance Guys live stream. I wasn't sure we were going to get here, but here we are. We will see you next week at the same time, same channel, but the following Thursday we will be on hiatus, as that is family obligations for both me and DK, and Jaden really doesn't just want to talk to you guys by himself. So until next time, we will see you at the matches.
Thanks for joining the stream. This has been a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com. We genuinely appreciate your support. Would you consider subscribing so you'll never miss a future episode? I'd also like to remind you we do a live stream every Tuesday at 5 p.m. before NWA Power. You can find us on social media at The Alliance Blog. And until next time.
The Alliance Guys.